Welcome back, everyone, to DBDLeague. This is the Weekend Cup with the second semi-final. This time it's going to be Eunoia facing BomBom, and if we're looking for the grand final, then we have to make a decision tonight. It will be a dramatic game. 5 sets for these two teams. Yesterday we got a little bit of a taste what it looks like when the teams are fighting for their spot in the All Hallows League. It was such a fantastic game. We can touch on that in a second, but before that, let me introduce the fellow second caster for today. You might know her from the past. She's very loved and very welcomed, and we are saying hello to Rayoxium.
Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be back for yet another casting opportunity at DBDLeague, especially because we have some very interesting sets here between BomBom and Eunoia, especially because I never really get to cast sets just like these. I'm very excited. We also have a little bit of alternative maps for you guys today to deal with the fact that some of them are bugged. So it's going to be very interesting, especially with our opening set, which is going to be Nurse, usually played on Coal Tower 1, will be played on Coal Tower 2. Dyer, what do you think about the switch up for the map?
Yeah, the switch of the map, I mean, luckily we are having a variation of the Coal Tower now that is not facing the game issues we have seen yesterday in the second semi-final that was played, how severe the impact can be. We had multiple restarts for the teams. It was a difficult evening yesterday, so we are hoping that DBD is a little bit on our side. CT2, you might say, well, that is just Coal Tower with a little bit of rearranged tiles. I would disagree with that, because especially when you have spent so many hours on your strategy, on your gameplay, and then the map is, even if it's just the shape and even if it's just the general positioning of some tiles and objectives, it can really mess with your muscle memory. Therefore, I do think it will be harder of a challenge than you might think from the first glimpse on it. And after that, and now, Ray, we are touching your expertise. We are going to have the Ghost Face. On Larry's not facing any issues at the moment, so this is all staying the same. But what can you tell us about the Ghost Face in competitive DBD?
Ghost Face in competitive DBD is a very well-beloved set by me and not anybody else, because Ghost Face is a very, very low-tier killer. He's got the most restrictions on him because he's not only a stealth killer, but he is an M1 killer. So you're not going to see a lot of perks from the survivors in order to keep themselves alive. They have to use their wits, their tactics, their communications. Ghostface is a very volatile set because you have to know exactly where he is, and the Ghostface wants to make sure you don't know exactly where he is. So there's a bunch of back and forth from between the teams. I love Ghostface sets because it obviously shows which team is the most experienced. The better one will always come out on top. There's sometimes some RNG elements, but overall, I think it's a very good map and it's a very good set to watch. They can drag on sometimes, but that just means that, the players are having a million calculations going throughout their head. So it's a very interesting set to watch, and I'm excited to cast another one, especially because the set that comes after it is a Spirit set, and I hardly ever get to cast these sets, and I love playing Spirit. She's like my favorite killer at the moment, so the tragedy is that I don't get the opportunity to cast DBDLeague games for her very often. And it's chosen by BomBom as well, a team that I haven't had the pleasure of casting just yet. So we're going to see some potentially fresh new plays from their team. I'm excited for that as well.
Absolutely. Spirit is a great killer, especially when we are looking on the first 3 sets. That might be the deciding factor in this best of 5 already, because both Eunoia and BomBom have dominated in their groups last weekend. They have shown us how strong they can be, so it might be that we are having a decision after just 3 set points have been handed out. And if we're looking on this combination, Nurse, Ghost Face, Spirit, we have these 2 S-tier, A-tier killers that are really dangerous, a lot of pressure from the get-go, not so much time for the survivors to set up, and especially during the mid-game, you have some difficult decisions about resetting, about pressuring the generators or commitment. And this is a little bit where we overlap into the Ghost Face, because there in the mid-game you have this decision-making as well. do we want to go for a reset? Do we want to keep it risky? But it is a different style of gameplay still. It's not this quick decision making, instead of rather having perfect communication with your team, playing very carefully and knowing exactly when it's a good moment to strike on a generator. So these 3 sets alone already promising a fantastic game. And if that's not enough, then we are having the Unknown and the Blight. We are kicking it off with the Unknown in set number 4. Unknown has gotten insane love by the competitive community, both from the audience and the players. We already have fantastic memories from Season 9, for example, the Ultra UVX shot, Cross-Wrecker's Yard, bouncing it off a tree, for example. So Unknown, great killer, great interaction. I can definitely understand why everyone loves him.
Very high skill killer is definitely some killer you can show off your skill and your knowledge with how it works. I know personally, I struggle still sometimes. He is a very interesting killer, and he's so affected by just every little collision on the map, everything that he can bounce off of. So it's crazy to see what some amazing Unknown players can pull out and show up for us in the set. It is at set 4, so, who knows if we're actually going to make it, especially because we have Blight being played at the last one as well. We have all 3 S-tier killers minus Billy, if you're counting him now. So that is an incredible matchup for us today. We're getting some really high stakes, high energy games for us being played today. So I'm really looking forward to what these teams can show us.
And important to mention about the Blight, you're talking about it. Do we even get this far? I would hope so, because Eunoia and BomBom deserve a very nice semifinal. Both teams would deserve to be in the grand final. Unfortunately, the nature of a tournament dictates that we have to say goodbye to one of these teams. But if we are making it all the way to the Blight, the teams have agreed on a new map. Blood Lodge, we have seen it yesterday, has been a horrible map, such as the Suffocation Pit. Both of these maps are currently suffering from a lot of game-related issues. So we talked to the teams and we said, guys, you have a little bit of time now to find an agreement. Otherwise, you're just going to play something that Savannah is deciding, and we all know that Savannah would have gotten for something crazy like RPD Blight or something. Shout out to our event management there. But the teams have agreed on Ormond. So the teams are cooking even more than we do on our highlight times. And Ormond Blight is something that we've never seen before in DBDL. I'm glad the teams found an agreement, but now I also hope that they are needing 5 sets.
Yeah, me too. That's going to be super interesting. Ormond is definitely one of the bigger maps that Dead by Daylight has. It has a lot of fillers. It is sort of reminiscent of Blood Lodge in that way, but I don't know if the filler strengths are going to translate to be the same. I think this map is actually an incredibly perfect choice for this, because I doubt anybody here has ever scrimmed Blight on Blood Lodge. I don't think I've ever heard of a tourney using that map. So it might be that not one of the teams has a huge advantage over the other. So they're both just getting thrown right into it. If they get to that set 5, we'll have to see how good these teams can do on an impromptu stage.
Yeah, this impromptu, especially in the tiebreaker, if it's a 2-2 so far, this will have a very nice finishing character. For this semi-final, that is, by the way, ready to go. We see Raven, Sponge, Fats, and Raiden DBD going against Thibit from Team BomBom. It's going to be Eunoia on the Survivor side. First, we are loading in any second here. And this brings us to the final question of this campfire chat. Ray, what is the prediction for today? I know that you're not familiar with Team BomBom because you triple checked how to pronounce their team name before we loaded in. But I think we have seen Eunoia together in one of the community nights we casted. Do you think Eunoia is just going to smash through here, considering we have Nurse, Blight, Ghost Face for the first 3 sets? Or do you say, this combination of the S-tier killers with the Ghost Face, that is so weird and so up and down, we will need more sets than just that?
It might be that it could be like that. I know we've seen Eunoia play, and they play very well. So the fact is that BomBom picked every single S tier killer they could. So they might have some killers that can specialize, but they might fall apart during these more low tier, more organization kind of sets. We'll have to see. It could be very, very interesting. We are already loading in. This is Coal Tower 2 or 1, just not the normal one that we normally see. We see that the main building is right off to the side and the shack is over to our right. Corrupt Intervention has blocked these generators by the main building. We saw, I believe it was Raiden walking behind the main building, but it seems like the nurse doesn't want to chase that person just yet, possibly sniffing out that they could be a deliverance or a DS player. Typically, you want to make it so your decisive strike player is chased first, so sometimes team will send out one survivor who's looking nice and tasty, but it seems that the nurse has locked onto this Claudette over here, who's not in a bad position. Ooh, and the nurse is very patient with the blinks, not overshooting it, and is rewarded with an early hit just like that. And the Claudette is all out of exhaustions. You see that she's on cooldown. She must use her balance landing earlier, meaning that this could be an early down.
And this is really what you're trying to avoid, this first early down, giving the nurse a confident start into this trial. The first hook stage already, but Sponge 1v1 is not going to take a longer run than that. However, it was a decent start. We have definitely seen worse than that against the nurse. The team is already countering that with a 50% generator. Fats is getting ready for the unhook, is the deliverance player. So important now that Fats is staying hidden and the nurse not being able to find him. Tibbet is taking a quick look onto the generator nearby, holding the blink. Besides that, Fats just in range of the nurse, hiding behind this tree here. Nurse not able to locate him just yet, but we do see the very clear strategy. You want to get the second stage onto Sponge as early as possible here, holding the 3-gen inside of that, and with the guidance of a Hex Totem, you have the setup up here, so definitely great for our nurse. Trying to pressure this generator a little bit, then deciding that it's better to hold the blink towards the hook. Sponge could still be rescued in the first hook stage. Raven taking attack, but I don't think the survivor team is really worrying about that. Meanwhile, we will make it coming out already into the full heal. Deliverance will be active as well. What an insane counterplay by the survivor team, and we don't even have it down onto Raven either. So 2 generators just got completed for free here.
Yep, that was Resurgence plus Will Make It, meaning that the heal after that unhook was incredibly fast. Incredibly fast. There we go. And we're still onto the chase of Sponge over here, who will be going down into the shack. We don't have decisive strike at play. The nurse will probably figure it out just now. Yes, she did. That means that we do have our tunnel out selected and on the way out of the trial. We still have both of our Hex Totems up, Ruin and Undying. That a single one has been cleansed. So we're still having that slowdown that is present in the game. Fung over here does spot it over here by Shack. She might try to get that cleansed. Claudette does a very good job, however, of not going down by that 3-gen that the nurse had picked up earlier. So they might be able to pressure and split the map for this death onto Claudette, who is dying fairly quickly. I still can't believe that save that happened so fast. Resurgence buff is really good. The nurse needs to stick near this hook. She can't leave to even give a tag like she did on that Lori, because that could immediately mean that this could even just turn into a 6-stage nurse game, which is a huge accomplishment from the survivor side.
Now a little bit of confusion even visible on the nurse side. What is the best strategy here? Holding the blink back towards Sponge 1v1. You can see you want to hand out the elimination to the entity. On the other hand, trying to get into chase with the Fang over here. Raiden is going to take a tag. Hopefully for the nurse, they are not going for the unhook. Not entirely sure if that's going to work out. And it's going to be the Claudette over here. Sponge being back for us. Is it going to be a longer run? Tibbet going back and forth. He really wants that survivor. Going down onto the floor here. There is not going to be an additional rescue. No flashlight saved, though the pallet being dropped into the back. Unfortunate that the nurse was half of a meter too far away from that. Raven and Fats, the two healthy survivors, will potentially go for a reset with Raiden. Never mind, because he has already been found. What a nice stun into the dump tech with the life, making a good chunk of distance into the next pallet play. This is the peak of competitive DBD, considering that we are on the nurse here. Raiden with such a showing against this nurse right here. Firecracker now coming out as well, trying everything to stay alive. And it is going to be a successful run so far. We are reaching the 1 minute mark. An excellent performance against the nurse. And even now it's not going to be enough to get Raiden onto the floor here. Ray, we might lose all 2 generators if the survivor team was efficient here. That was a crazy run that we have witnessed there.
Oh, especially because the nurse is deciding to pick up Raiden. We do have Ruin on Undying. That could make pressuring these generators very rewarding. However, the nurse is deciding to hook Raiden into the basement. It's taking so much time. Okay, one survivor did get off their generator, maybe deciding that they were not going to be able to get that. Instead, sets up for the early pull. We have Deliverance, so it doesn't matter if we go down. Also Unbreakable, also will make it. So whatever the nurse does will be punished. Is she gonna come over here to pressure the gens? Well, the save is gonna happen for free. She stays to camp the hook. Well, then these gens are gonna get done. These survivors are playing so very well. They have a game plan and they are following it. Raiden comes off the hook in the broken status effect, meaning that they probably have renewal or whatever it's actually called, second wind. And we're over here chasing. We actually don't have a lot of pressure on the gens right now, so they are regressing from Ruin. Undying was cleansed. So the survivors, all this time that they're taking, they have to go back and pressure those gens. They have to make these chases matter. The survivors are doing a good job of dying in corners, knowing that chases against nurse don't last very long. So we have to be dying in the right spots, making it so the nurse has to take longer to get back to pressure. We do have this generator at main that is going to pop. Yes, we have that done, and now we only have 1 generator left. The hook happens. It's very far away from this. The nurse has to pressure both at the same time. The survivors are sticking to the generator, most likely on comms, telling us exactly where the nurse is. Raiden deciding to take a stealthier approach while the Nancy runs in, goes for the save on the hook. She is now off. Hazel will make it heal, and that is 3 survivors in the trial. The gens sort of split. This is a big distance. This is Cold Tower 2. The map is very funkily shaped. It's not just like a rectangle. So we do have a deep pocket that's basically at 0, though. The survivors would have to go over there and just waste enough time. We're in a classic 3v1 situation where we do find Raiden, who takes a tag right there. This is exactly what the nurse needs. She would love to have another down right now. Raiden uses live to get away from the situation, away from the generator that has a bunch of progress. Tries to jump a locker, but doesn't get it in just yet. The other 2 survivors could be around to pressuring the generator, and the nurse knows this and is coming back to get them off of that so it can regress once again.
One thing that is really, really nice is how Tibbet is fighting as much as he can here, considering that we had a horrible run in the mid game against Raiden, and at the beginning the plan with pushing Sponge into the second hook stage not working out, taking the Deliverance as well. Considering all of that, Tibbet is doing a very, very nice job right here. Fats is also going to get injured now. Raiden is still on the floor, now being picked up, though that is telling us, and the killer as well, that no one is working on the generators just yet. Only now the survivor team has a chance of going back towards the gens potentially, but we can see in the distance they have decided to go for the reset, and once it's going to be visible on the UI for the killer, Tibbet knows that he earned a little bit of time for himself. The survivors going for the health state here, which is understandable considering the current situation. We are in the difficult part of the mid game against the Nurse now, when it's one generator remaining and only 3 survivors standing. It's usually coming to a huge slowdown, especially when the Hex Ruin is still in the trial. Whenever the survivors are pushed off the generators, there's the immediate auto regression coming in. I'm not entirely sure though if I agree with the decision of the survivor team that they doubled up next to the shack, because once the killer is moving over there, you essentially chase 2 survivors off the generator. Hex Ruin is going to do a lot of work for you, so the regression is definitely going to work in your favor. Tibet now trying to move around the cold tower and going into the next chase here, though we are going to see that Raven is trying to pull the Nurse as furthest away from the generators as possible. Will break line of sight with the hills here. Raven needs a little bit of a longer run since the survivor team had to face such a setback, but ultimately it's going to be the down. Confident blinks here by Tibet, who I feel like warmed up a little bit in this trial. I was worried after seeing the first 2 minutes, wasn't making the strongest impression, especially with how the early game went, but now he's definitely with a lot of confidence here, and I'm not sure if that's going to be enough.
No, it seems like that generator will be popping. The time it takes to hook a lorry is going to be enough for the survivors to double and get the generator done. Honestly, well played to these survivors breaking this. That one generator could definitely mean the world. If you are playing against the Nurse, a 4K1 and a 4K0 is a huge difference. The Nurse goes down to basement. No! She tries to blink in place and she's just shot all the way down. That could be a huge mistake because the survivor is getting the distance and will be able to get this unhooked, possibly, potentially. Nancy is she is injured. Yes, we are getting that save. And do we even get the down? Yes, we get the down. Raven is back into the game. Oh, we're actually instead just gonna take the hook onto Fats right here. Yep, there we go. Missing Fats right on the hook. That puts them into the struggle state. While Nancy, or sorry, you know what? Whatever survivor was on that hook, I'm confused. They have the time to get back over here and pick up the other survivor who is trying to run away and gain as much distance as possible, uses their exhaustion perk. Right now, they're just fighting to even get maybe 1 stage out the door, but the Nurse is slugging. She is not letting them have anything. Right now, Raiden has to play out of his mind to try to get away from the Nurse, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. This is an S-tier killer. Yep. And there they go down. We know we've burned through all the perks. Deliverance is gone. There's nothing to help these survivors. This will be a 4K0.
I don't know how I feel about this result, because on the one hand, I'm really happy for Tibet and for Team BomBom for making such a great comeback. It does take a lot to have such a rough early game. We talked about it. Confidence is the key. You want to have it as quick as possible. First hook stage coming in, having this feeling of being in control, especially as an S-tier killer. These killers are usually able to dictate the survivor team what's going on in the map. So I really like this comeback after the survivor team has been so strong, especially in the beginning. On the other hand, I feel really sad for the survivor team, because considering how they set up the first save with the deli, with the "we will make it," then later Raiden's chase, an absolute highlight of the trial. You need to pull that off in a tournament context with juicing on the edge map, then with the pallet dump tag into life. Like, all of this so amazing that we have seen there. I feel like we should have seen one out. And if it would have only been 1 stage, Ray, but the fact that this survivor team got 4K'd makes me feel a little bit bad for them. On the other hand, I do think a core mistake, or I don't know if you want to call it mistake, but it was definitely this double up next to the shack when we still had Hex Ruin in the trial. 1 survivor was hooked, and then the Nurse scouting the area. This is the moment where you need to spread the generator pressure.
Definitely. Do you think that maybe the survivors didn't even know where Ruin is? I know that single spot that is right next to main can sometimes catch me out Like, I could not that's a very, very hard totem to look for. I feel like it hardly ever spawns, so maybe they wanted to cleanse Ruin, but they had no idea where it was. However, the nurse did have Eruption, which could have been also just a mind game by itself, but they did decide to cleanse Undying, so who really knows? It did definitely feel a little bit of an upset that they didn't get at least one out. They had, like, 3 survivors alive during the end game. Granted, they did sacrifice their life trying to get that last generator done, but even then, the nurse blinking to the basement, it looked like a little bit more hopeful, but there just wasn't enough chase in the end. Maybe if the survivor had picked up the slugged one instead of going straight to the hook, all these tiny little micro mistakes that could pile up to being snowballed into a 4K late in endgame. It is a little bit more difficult to say, but I do think that both teams did play very, very well.
Absolutely. I mean, maybe it is a fair result after all, because Tibet made a nice comeback. I do agree. We should have seen an out, but when you have such a strong comeback, we will give it to Tibet. He is allowed to take this 4K. We will not apply any penalties here for eliminating the chooser. And it looks like we are quick on the lobbies. Shout out to the teams in the background, BomBom and Eunoia, doing good work. So I would say we hop on a quick break, and we will see you very soon, ladies and gentlemen, with the second trial.
Welcome back, everybody. We have taken a moment. We have switched sides. And now we have the killer Raiden, a juicer that we saw last game with excellent movement against the nurse, possibly showcasing that he is a nurse connoisseur. We will see some interesting games already. We have Ruin in effect, Corrupt Intervention blocking some generators. We had Dying Light. We had Eruption, playing for the fact that the survivors will be cleansing our Hex Totem. We showcase that Gallows right here, trying to take an early chase. Oh, tries to juke out the nurse, but loses a lot of distance, and our live is used as well. Tries to go for some jukes, but will still be taking a tag, possibly accepting that they will be dying here at the coal tower. Oh, another good blink by the nurse, being incredibly patient, will be rewarding a down even earlier than last game. But we have a key difference. Our survivor here is the decisive strike player. Now, the nurse doesn't know that, might have an idea. It is very popular nowadays to pair live with decisive strike. But this is an incredibly early down, and you know what? Sometimes you just gotta chew through that DS. It'll still be good. You don't want to just go around letting the survivors do the gens without a tunnel out. So we do have our hook happening right in front of the coal tower, almost exactly like it happened last game. And we have the Delhi survivor over here as well, stealthing. The nurse might have an idea, yes, and does find the Jake here. Gives him a healthy little stab to the back. Is forced to go for the pull extremely early. Oh god, this is not looking good for the survivors. It's seeming like it's going to spiral. Does try to use live. Waits out the built-in borrow time expertly. Oh my goodness, I don't even know if that Jake was able to get his deliverance from that. That seems so quick. DS does stun the nurse for at least a little bit time. Yes, his deliverance doesn't even come through. And the nurse is going back. Oh my god. We'll be taking this hook onto the Jake. Maybe she knows that the deliverance didn't come through and can just place him on a hook. No, she's kind of reading where that survivor is going, has eyes on them. This means this could be another hook. Delhi is out of the game, and so was Decisive Strike. Oh my god, this is such a good start.
Absolutely, this is a dream start, and honestly, I'm not too surprised considering how Raiden was looping the nurse in the previous trial, serving the juice. You are only able to run a nurse like that when you exactly know how she's functioning, what she can see, what is a good line of side breaker, so you need both perspectives. And we can tell Raiden has these two perspectives so good. Raiden here getting Gallo Fake onto the floor as well. Second hook stage on that survivor already, so we are working on that first elimination, especially the ST killers, Nurse, Blight, Billy, Spirit. They are trying to get a survivor out of the game as quick as possible, making sure that the generator efficiency of the survivor team is drastically engaged. On the other hand, though, our survivor team already has 2 completed generators and 50% on another objective. So they are definitely not doing bad on the side of BomBom at all, playing a huge counter play here. Nice patience by Tibet, waiting exactly for the second link, and then in the perfect moment going for the double back here. Ace rotating back as a healthy survivor towards the generators that need priority, and it seems like Raiden has spotted Gallowfake. Gallowfake will drop this pallet early to prevent a little bit of walking nurse there that will have an easier time blinking on him with a shorter distance. On the other hand, though, Raiden just pushing Gallowfake towards the edge of the map and then taking the down, meaning we are going to have BomBom reduced to 3 survivors only. Good job by Raiden so far. Now it's going to be all coming down to the efficiency of the survivor team.
And that is our obsession also taken out of the game, meaning that we have a useless perk, Dying Light. We also have our Hex Ruin that has been cleansed, meaning that the only perk the nurse has at this moment is Eruption. Now, Eruption is still an incredibly good perk, but you know, not as good as just using your eyes to sniff out this ace who was hiding along the edge map. The nurse still does have a 3-gen here at this main area. She might be trying to hold that. This is regressing. Yes, Eruption, there it is, this is the effect. She kicked that generator, and when the next survivor went down, it regressed it just by a little bit more. It can make these gens incredibly hard to let her just go out and kick, but now she has a hook right in the middle of this 3-gen. We see that the Atom here is stealthing a little bit. Does she know that? She's looking around. She has sort of an idea. She missed him just by an inch. Oh no. Must have an idea that they want to try to get the survivor out of here as quickly as possible. Going right back to the hook. Trying to sniff out the Atom. I don't even know where he went either. We do get another generator done. Jake got that one there, but there are 2 gens left just to meet Icon. And there the save happens. The nurse turns her back for just 1 moment, swiftly in there, gets the save, gets out. Although the nurse knows that the decisive strike has been chewed through, meaning that she could tunnel just as free as she wants.
And she does so understandably onto Yolo, who's trying to use this pallet here into the locker, but it's not going to be in time. Therefore, it's just going to be the rehook on this survivor. Danke and Tibbet, though, the 2 healthy survivors, are in need of saving and repairing the generator. We can see that Danke is already setting up to rescue the team member. Meanwhile, Tibbet is prioritizing the generator on the hill, and that's quite close towards the hook stage. We are now getting Raiden, luckily for the survivor team, moving towards that other side, wants to get aggression onto this generator first. Has a nice 3-gen setup here as well, next to the main building. Together with the hill gen, you can chain these 3 generators beautifully together, so it will feel really great to have the hook stage right inside of it. And this is a little bit the problem that BomBom created for themselves. They're getting these hook stages always in this area over here, allowing Raiden to guard generators and hooked survivor at the same time. If they would be able from now on, I think it's a necessity, if they are now able to go all the way down towards the shack and then even dying behind the shack, forcing that Raiden has a split between this hooked survivor and the generator setup, they will have a much easier time. But right now there is nothing for Raiden to be afraid of. You have an eye onto the gens. You can beautifully camp this survivor to death, and if he's blinking in time, he will even be able to interrupt the hill climb.
Oh, and it seems like it. Adam is going to try to die for this. Yes, he does get this in time, but you know what that means is now that this is a 2v1 with the last survivor being kind of revealed. I believe that Eruption might have procced, although we didn't see Jake's aura, so that doesn't mean that he might have been on it at that time. But now we're in a 2v1, and you know, 2v1s are kind of GGs. One survivor dead on the ground, another just has to run for their life and pick up the survivor and not go down. It's kind of a difficult scenario. So this first set will probably be going to BomBom. I know it's a little premature, but I don't know. This is kind of a dangerous scenario, though Jake is kind of stealthing pretty good. But even in right here, what do? Are you going to try to just work on a generator. They're all basically at 0, while Adam is just sort of sitting on the ground there. They could try to go for a pickup and a reset, but the nurse is back over here. She knows that. Raiden showcasing that he knows this set incredibly well. I also said that the set would be going to BomBom, but I misspoke. It would be going to Eunoia. I apologize.
Yeah, Eunoia will... I don't see how they would lose this. Raiden would need to find, I don't know, the new way of throwing in competitive DBD to make this happen. Otherwise, he should be able to just cam tip it to death, and then he can close the hatch. And since the first win condition in DBDLeague are the repaired generators and the survivor team no longer having access, after the hatch is being closed, this would be the first set point coming to an end. But you can tell Raiden wants a little bit more than that. He wants to set a mark and setting a sign here. He wants to show his team, Eunoia, that they are stronger than Team BomBom, and it is a little bit of a mind game. It does matter how you win this first set, if you're just winning it a little bit lucky, or if you can put the foot down and say, dominantly, we are going to be the deciding factor. Right, even nice swing there as well, expecting that Danke would jump out of the locker here. What a great game by Raiden on both survivor and killer side. For me, the MVP of this first set definitely deserved. And Eunoia now feeling very great. We will see if Raiden is also playing the Ghost Face, as he's playing a lot of killers for that team. If so, you have a hell of a good emotion on motivation going into that second set. And for the survivor team of BomBom, it will be important now to pull yourself together, because especially on the Ghost Face, you need perfect communication, perfect coordination, awareness about your situation at all times. So all of these are challenges that we are going to face in the Ghost Face set. Ladies and gentlemen, let's find out if BomBom is able to pull it back in the second set, or if Eunoia will increase the lead. All of that after a short break.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to more DBDLeague games. We are on the side of Raiden, Eunoia playing Ghost Face against the survivor team, BomBom. We've seen Raiden play already, so I'm expecting big things. We have a Ghost Face set not using Corrupt Intervention. That is very interesting. A killer that is low tier and can be ran for quite a while, instead choosing for a perk that you normally would see in every single killer game. You know, you can see it in Nurse games, a higher tier, S tier, deciding not to go for it, instead bringing some Hex, Ruin, Sloppy Butcher, Scourge Hook, Pain Resonance, and Pop goes the Weasel. Pop not even going to be seeing any value until Ruin is cleansed. The first pallet is gone. It is that safe pallet over by... Oh, no! I almost grabbed right there! Team, what is going on? We gotta look behind ourselves. This is a Ghost Face set, man. The communications need to be on point. And given a free tag there, that was almost a disaster.
And it is a disaster still, because Paradox is going to be down right here. Totally agree with you, Ray. Definitely a little bit of a hiccup there, especially since there was a second survivor. Then you can beautifully share the hallway, right? One survivor is looking in this direction, the other one over there, and then you're notifying each other when you spot the Ghost Face. Unfortunate start for the survivor team, especially considering that BomBom is coming as a loser out of the Nurse set that we have just played. So they are looking forward to have a very good survivor performance, and instead you are going to start a little bit rough. The Rescuer also being located now. That's already going to be an injury onto Gallowfake. Danke, on the other hand, is 75% exposed already, so you need to be careful what survivor you're sending over here. And if Raiden would find this survivor, then with a quick stalk we might have a lot of problems, but so far it's going to be at least the unhook. But right after that, especially, no way, they revealed him with 99.9. Now unlucky for Raiden.
God.
That's for sure, being a little bit sucked towards the other side of the pallet there. A little bit of chaos going on, that's for sure. Danke with the 99 stalk with the next power definitely going to be exposed, and then it has the potential for a quick down here. But It is the... Oh, I was just about saying this is a chance for the Survivor team to take a recovery, but then Danke moving back into the killer. Raiden here very thankfully taking that second hook stage. Will say, thank you for running back into me, especially as a 99 Survivor. BomBom decides to not go for the reset, so we can see they realize that they need some gen pressure here.
And Sloppy Butcher, now famously nerfed, is now on a timer, meaning that if they just wait a little bit longer, they can wait out that slowed heal speed, but the only healthy survivor who is probably trying to set up for the save also gets caught out. And oh my god, the expert pathing here though. Buying just a little bit more extra time. Adam showcasing his 1v1, however, still goes down, and the other two survivors left in the trial are still injured. That is going to be really rough, and we are taking our third fresh hook of the day, throwing the survivor right up on this hook that is near the top, and it's a Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, showing that we're going to be aggressing the generator with the most progress. The survivor still sitting on that generator. It's now regressing, but the whole team is injured. We have taken 3 fresh hooks. That could be good for endgame, but not a tunnel out just yet. So the survivors do have an opportunity to reset, but it's going to be difficult, especially getting caught out right here too. The survivors seem to just be being found over and over incredibly fast. The Ghost Face being really stealthy and is just expertly like plotting out their exact locations.
I am a little bit worried for the Survivor team, if I can be honest, because usually when you are staying fully injured, you are prioritizing the timer on Sloppy Butcher and the generators, but this is not what we are seeing at the moment, Ray. Paradox now being found as well, meaning that the third survivor might be down or hooked in a couple of seconds here. Tibbet is getting rescued, meaning that no one is working on the generators at the moment, and this is what Raiden earned for himself now. This beautiful position as a killer where you know that no one has a chance to work on the objectives at the moment. So basically everything that happens right now is free earned for the killer. You don't have to sacrifice any gen progress, and especially not any completed objectives. Paradox furthermore is on the second hook stage already, meaning that we're just 60 seconds away from the first elimination into this trial, and we are still on 4 generators remaining. Dunk is still on the floor. Raiden trying to find the survivor as quick as possible. Not entirely sure where the survivor is located. On the other hand, while scouting, you can also try to find a potential rescuer. And they do get a second generator very soon, which is important here because how it's being played out so far with all the chaos, with such a dominant Raiden on the side of Eunoia, this has the chance to end in a 4K, and therefore it's important to take every single generator that you can add on top here.
They do get that one done, so that does look a little bit good for BomBom's killer. You know, instead of having to 4K5 to win the set, maybe now you're just 4K4. And they could recreate the chaos that Raiden is doing for this survivor team right here. It does seem that Paradox will be going to the next game. Tibbet is not being seen just yet. Oh wait, yeah, here we go. And this will be the healthy survivor being chased, so it won't result in an immediate down. The other 2 survivors are up, and they might be taking the time to heal, or they could be just trying to spread pressure to get another generator done. Ghost Face games could result in 4Ks at high gens. This is the pick of Eunoia, so their survivor team could be looking a little bit scary, but we'll have to see. They do get the heal, that reset that will prevent just another quick down. Raiden leaves the chase on the Atom, finds the Jake over here, and just trying to take chase away from that side of the map where they are doing the generators. They just need more gen pressure. They just need people to sit on gens. We need a chase that lasts just a little bit longer, but the mind games will result on a down up here at the top side of the map. Yeah, we still have 3 stacks of Pain Resonance as well, so that is still a huge regression. Ruin still being up. Yeah, Pain Resonance happens on Adam's gen right here, regressing it just a little bit more. And the survivor is setting up for the pole to try to get them back into the game. Finds the Ruin. They might cleanse it, but Adam right here is also in danger. You need to trade these chases just for generator progress.
rough spot for Team BomBom. Tibbet injured, Gallofake needs to rotate all the way from the generators over to Danke. And then you need to only get the third generator done. Still not really the result that you're optimally aiming for. Usually we are trying to get all the gens done because, fun fact, 4K1 is quite a common result on the Ghost Face, and everything beyond the 1 generator mark is really, really great. But Raiden still is beyond that mark. 3 generators still standing, and he's already looking for more. The Survivor team prioritizes the heal, which is understandable at this stance of the game. They have taken quite some setbacks and disadvantages already, so it's understandable that they all want to be healthy. On the other hand, it means once again that Raiden has earned some time for himself. He can now check onto Tibbet a little bit, and he can be sure that no generator will pop too soon. Finding Gallofake over there, 50% stall progress, already a little bit more than the half now, so this is definitely something that Raiden can work with later on when catching that Survivor again. Danke now moving towards the unhook. Will Raiden rotate back as well? The answer is yes. Question now, who's speedrunning more? Who will be at the hook stage in time? And will the survivors pull through? The answer is yes, but that's going to be quite punishing as Danke is now going to be exposed. Tibbet is the injured survivor, cannot really take a hit here after the BT effect has been expired, and Raiden moving around, being able to throw the survivors off a little bit. They don't have the biggest amount of progress anymore. Adam taking the hit, and Raiden will go for the slug. Totally understandable, as we have a confident killer here that knows exactly what he's doing on the Larry's Memorial Institute. He does even want to get Jake now. Not sure if I agree with that, because it seems to be a little bit greedy, and just when mentioning this concern, Raiden already going back, picking up Tibbet here. Perfect gameplay, honestly. We see this little bit of risk being taken, trying to get the survivor team into a more difficult position, and also this awareness, right? I have a good spot at the moment, I have the pressure, but then not giving too confident and not getting too much ahead of himself, knowing exactly when it's good to return, taking the second elimination here as well, making it a permanent disadvantage for the survivor team. We really love to see that. So if Raiden keeps playing like this, I feel quite confident that he might take this with a 4K on 3 gens remaining.
Definitely seems like that. Waiting just for the power to come up. The survivor does throw the pallet, but you know, his power, it's recharged, takes a long time. Is 99, can you bring him out? No, you're definitely not going to be able to, especially when he leans. Ooh, is there a little bit of a mind game here, and is rewarded with just a little bit more distance? Gallofake can't break the Ghost Face out because whenever you are fully stocked, you are not able to do so. The Jake was working on that generator, but is nowhere to be found now. They just need one good chase away from the generators. Bait Raiden away from that location to try to just buy enough time to get one more gen done. It does seem like that is happening a little bit right here. Raiden is far away from that gen that had quite a bit of progress. The map is a little bit split, so they could be just trying to get one survivor at one side, then one at the other. Oh, here we go. Yes, this is a lot of progress over here. This is exactly what they needed. Gallofake was away from the generators, is currently away from the generators, and Jake will be popping that. That is very good. The generator could be a make or break situation. That one still has a little bit of progress, is taking an M1 hit through that pallet, but is now taking the distance and running away. Now we just need to use the rest of the resources to buy just a little bit more time.
And Gallofake needs a longer run for that, but I don't think that Raiden will allow him to go for that. We do see the mind games, and the slow vault is unfortunately getting punished here. The difficulty on the Larry's Memorial Institute, though, is the end game, because unlike the other maps where we can force a spawn location for the hatch, we're not able to do that on Larry's Memorial Institute. So we are very often coming down to RNG, and Raiden, however, with the Omega sniffing tool when it comes to finding the final survivor. Danke going down onto the floor. Ray, You are the Ghost Face expert here, so I will want to take a chance to interview you. 4K2 gens, definitely rough to achieve for the killer. How do you need to play this upcoming killer trial on BomBom to make it a 4K3 even? I mean, a tie 4K2 would probably feel nice already, but in best case you want to take the set point, so 4K with 3 generators standing. How do you play a Ghost Face game like this? Do you start slugging at the beginning, trying to apply pressure, or how do you proceed there?
I don't know if you're even able to start with slugging since Ghostface is a low tier killer. He has to hit people twice, so even if you are slugging, it doesn't create that much pressure as like a nurse would because her chase can be so insanely quick. What you really need to do is just get out there and try to give as many tags, and you could possibly try to snowball with that many hits to that many downs, but your best bet really is just we saw how a Ghostface played in this early game was confusing and was able to catch a survivor out. That's something that you need to replicate. You need to give some tags, you need to be unpredictable, and you need to catch survivors off guard. But this is the pick of Eunoia. There's survivors that are coming up, which means that they might already have this in mind. Their comps are going to be on point because taking the second set means that you were already that much closer to getting, maybe just winning the first 3 sets out of 5. That could be a huge confidence booster as well. We'll have to see what their Ghostface can do considering this is not their pick. It'll be very interesting to say the least.
Amen, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you after the break.
Welcome back, everybody. We have taken a moment. We have switched sides, and now we have BomBom. Danke? I don't know how to pronounce this name. Apparently, it could be German for thank you. But they are playing the Ghostface against the survivor team of Eunoia. And we have an incredible win con to play for. A 4K2 to tie, a 4K3 to win. We can already see the survivors have their game plan locked and loaded because we are scouting out the Ghostface. What the survivors need to do is to create just a long enough chase for those survivors to stick the gens. Ghostface bringing corrupt intervention, not being a psychopath like last game, but you know what? Being a psychopath pays off because you had an incredible result. And oh my god, that Claudette just staring at that window right there. Oh my god. Yeah, and here we are just being a little bit slippery, not giving the Ghostface those early tags that they so desperately need. And we can see right here the survivor getting off the generator. That was that unlucky amount of skill check time, but Steve, where are you going? Running into the killer, giving them a tag, that's what they want. Kicking this gen, applying eruption, and is now going to be confusing. Yes, it's exactly what you need in a Ghostface set. Be unpredictable and catch survivors out. We'll have to see if Danke can do that.
This, what you mentioned, is really, really important. You're now trying to get some pressure onto the survivors. Comparing this with the first trial, though, Raiden had a lot more going on for himself. We had a couple of injuries, a down was coming through, and we had a couple of survivors stalked already. This is what we are missing at the moment a little bit. Raiden being in chase here, confidently holding W through this difficult pallet, making sure that he's taking a little bit of extra distance. Now he will be injured, but he has the God pallet as well. A little bit of hesitation there if he should drop the God pallet early, but one more round should be possible here. Yeah, indeed, we are going to see down by Raiden, making sure that more time is being wasted. And this is the difference now so far between Team Eunoia and BomBom. BomBom's killer, not with the stalk progress on the survivors, not with spreading the injuries, even though he tried to go for a little bit of chaos. And the survivor team, Ray, I remember that you said in the previous trial, when you look strong on the Ghost Face, you usually have a confident survivor team that is looking like maniacs, and Eunoia does look really strong.
Raiden taking that chase and wasting just as much time as they needed. They have some generator progress, they have no downs. A lot of resources have been munched through, but they are doing their job just here, buying some time for them to sit on those gens. Steve over here is taking the chase, throws that pallet, and now the Ghost Face is in a compromising situation. Also needs to get some downs, get some more injuries. The survivors who have been taking tags have been going to a safe spot somewhere where the other survivors will be there to heal and reset them. Lori, he is here doing this generator, doesn't let it die to the progress. No ruin. It's not going to be regressing by itself. Kicking the gens does apply eruption, but in order to get value out of eruption even further, you need downs. It seems like Steve here could be the target. However, there are still so many pellets up. Steve not going down just yet, looking behind himself. Oh my god. Megs need to take note. And the chase is still happening here at topside, running out of resources. Possibly will just be accepting this as the death spot. However, not accepting it without a fight because the Steve is juicing, looking behind themselves, seeing the mind games that the Ghost Face is dishing out, and will be making it to this corner pallet. A very, very good corner pallet. We'll have to see who wins. It is not a completely safe pallet. Can be played, but will he be going down? Yes, will be going down, but man, that is a good death spot.
This is the perfect position to die at the moment. This corner here at this relatively difficult pallet. Third generator in the making, so we are also making sure that the tie condition is reached as a minimum. So whatever happens now to Team Eunoia, you will not lose a set point, and Claudette has a generator already on 50%, and I believe there was a second generator in the corner of Larry's with 30% already. So the Survivor team doing a really, really impressive job here. They are making sure that Danke is constantly under pressure, and I think this is something that you can really feel as a killer, especially when you are a lower tier and you really only can go for some injuries, and then you have to make it back with some stalking, with some sneaking up, but you can feel that you are not the most powerful role on the Larry's Memorial Institute. And when you then have a Survivor team that is efficient, well coordinated, and not making any mistakes, such as here Sponge with a nice stun onto the killer, taking some additional distance and wasting some time, then it's going to be even more rough. So Danke in a very, very difficult scenario at the moment. You want to have some downs. You want to have these downs almost 1 or 2 minutes ago. You still barely have stalk progress on the other survivor. The only one is Raven with around about 40%. And the survivors realize that as well, that they are about to take the dominance here. The hook stages are pretty split. Metox and Sponge both on the first stage, so none of them will be eliminated in just 60 seconds. So unless we see some kind of snowball now, where the survivors are going to be injured, staying injured, and then being caught off guard, like this thing over here, if that doesn't happen, I don't see a chance for the Ghost Face to stop the 4th gen.
Especially because there are 4 survivors alive. The major difference between this and last game was that the tunnel out had happened, so the 3v1 was making it difficult for them to even get a little bit of generator progress. One person being chased, one person on hook, one person doing gens. It's very, very difficult, especially when you have Ghost Face just being stealthy and creating confusion in the communications. The save does happen, and that will put everybody back into the trial, able to do a gen. They've also taken the time to split the map. We have 2 gens up here, 1 in mid and 1 downtown. So that is looking like, even if this Ghost Face can run around and give tags to everybody, the generators are far away. The survivors are not going to be giving it for free. It does look like this will be another win, possibly, potentially, for Eunoia. Yep, that hook happens very far away from this, and they are just doubling this gen. Lori is stealthing up towards the top to get the save right here, and when that save happens, now you've got 2 survivors back on the top side who can sit on gens as well. The Ghost Face doesn't really have the option to stay there and just camp that out. Does find the Lori, who is stealthing for the save, but you know, there are 2 other survivors who are just doubling this gen at bottom side. The Ghost Face needs to be in 2 places at once.
And this is the most disgusting situation to be in as a killer when you feel like you have to be at 2 or 3 locations at the same time. You need this injury over here at the same time. You want to stalk Claudette, then you want to kick this generator, and in best case, camp Raiden to death at the same time. Unfortunately, that's not how it's working, and if you want to be in multiple locations, then you need the pressure for that. Make 2 survivors heal over there, a 3rd one is moving for the unhook, and so on. But you can see it right here. Danke can only run a few meters away from this generator, and then he already has to make a 180 turn, knowing that the survivors will be back onto the objective sponge, taking the injury, which is important for Danke, because now the survivor will think twice if they are going to make it back towards this generator over here. Potentially, yeah, they are now going for the full reset here, which is going to be a little bit of extra time for Danke, and all generators that you recently kicked are going into a little bit further of a regression. So a little bit of a chance here for Team BomBom and the killer Danke, the chance to breathe through, the chance to get a little bit of a setback, removing the percentages from the generators. The survivor team is realizing that now as well, is going into some new gens, and Ray, that's going to be a nice stalk onto Raiden. We do have Steve here as a meat shield, but after that you still have 75% of the power, so if you want to, you can potentially still go into a chase with Raiden here.
Maybe I was too quick to jump the gun, because the survivors are falling apart just a little bit. They were on that generator to double it to try to get it done as quick as possible, but that also means that 2 survivors are spotted out. There are 4 generators on this map, so you could split pressure. It does take a little bit longer to get the generator done, yes, but you do indeed still get it done. So the survivors are taking the time to reset. They're trying to play slow, but the Ghost Face is capitalizing on this downtime that they're having. Sponge is found out over here. We don't actually have a tunnel out, so the Ghost Face is going to need to play insane, giving out tons of tags, Sloppy Butcher doing its job and not making the resets happen too quickly. We're still on the chase of this Claudette right over here. A lot of resources have been used, so not a lot of safe pallets that could absolutely buy time, and trying to just path the Ghost Face and buy a little bit more time right here. Oh, we found a really good looping spot. This window right here goes for a fake, is not rewarded with the down. Sponge doing a good job of not dying just yet. The other 3 survivors not healing Steve, maybe just tripling a generator, trying to get that done to meet the win con. The death will be happening. Eruption does proc. Oh, and the reward for that long chase is coming through. Just doubling this generator right here. It will be seeing completion before the Ghost Face can get over there. Yes, and that does secure the win for Eunoia.
Very much deserved, if you're asking me. Very strong once again, just after the nurse set, hopping onto killer. Ghost Face playing that really well. Raiden again on the killer side there, showing us a very great Ghost Face, who was able to not only confuse the survivors a little bit, but also being good with the exposing and using his power very nicely. And now he's in the chase right here, unfortunately due to the crouch a little bit over peaking on this corner here. But Eunoia ready to celebrate. They have 2 set points already, meaning that the Blight, our upcoming 3rd, oh no, never mind, the Spirit is going to be the 3rd set of today. It is a killer that requires confidence, especially when you are going into these 50-50 mind games as the killer and survivor. And since you have taken 2-0 so far, I do see Eunoia definitely in the favorite role. However, we have seen in the past weekend as well that BomBom is a team that can fight back and that is not giving up in difficult circumstances. So there is the chance, of course, especially for a team like BomBom that has proven that in the past, that they are making a very nice comeback here. Important to notice though, I feel like in favor of Eunoia, they not only took 2 set points so far, they took these 2 set points in a very dominant style.
And that does help boost the confidence just a little bit. You need to get your confidence up whenever you're going into these next sets, because The rest of the sets we have for today are high skill killers, and whenever you have a killer who requires more concentration like that, you need to lock in. You have to have high spirits. Oh, we can never see. No, it gets revealed. The Ghost Face will be trying to body block this Claudette. Look at that, expert body blocking. But it won't be enough. It takes a really long time for the Ghost Face to recharge. So we are going to be playing Spirit next, BomBom on the killer. We'll have to see if they have an insane Ghost Face, We'll have to see if they have an insane Spirit player. Don't go anywhere, everybody. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, gen repairers, totem hunters, and everyone else. This is Abdel, Raiden, Metox, and Fats on the survivor side for Eunoia, potentially hunting their third set point to win this best of 5 semi-final, facing Gallo Fake on the Spirit for Team BomBom. And BomBom, since they are in such a disadvantage here with the 2-0, they would really love to have a good and strong early game in this trial. You want to make sure that you get the first injuries and downs, and then putting quite some pressure onto Eunoia. So far that is not going to happen. None of the faces has really brought up a survivor, but now we have the first chase. A little bit of a gamble in the pallet here. Fats was trying to confuse the killer, but Ghetto Fake is staying the stronger part, taking the injury here. Fats also not able to make it back towards the pallet. We might see a pallet save happening. Communication there a little bit off between Ace and Fats. I believe the Fats called that it's either too far or the killer not picking instantly. However, it is going to be the first hook stage into this trial, and Ghetto Fake will feel really good about this.
Oh, tries to use a firecracker, I believe, around the corner where you can't exactly hear it dropping, but the killer expertly uses their ears to determine that that is something that they don't want to look at, and instead blinds themselves, whatever survivor threw it. That is an incredibly good start, exactly what BomBom wants. One survivor up on the hook, the other survivors kind of in a little bit of a confusing state right here. The Spirit has a really good hook spot as well, using agitation to precisely plot exactly where they want to go. And the survivors go for an incredibly early save as well. Sometimes it indicates that the survivor that was saved does have decisive strike, able to buy a little bit extra time. Doesn't even throw Shat Pellet right there to gain a little bit more distance. Fats will be chased down onto this corner. That means that the survivors did want to get them out of that area just quickly as possible. Fats does go down. Will the decisive strike be happening? No, it is not. Doesn't necessarily mean that Ada doesn't have it. We know that she doesn't have it. We saw in the perks earlier, but the Spirit doesn't know that. The first generator right here will be getting done, but that is not a whole lot of pressure for a survivor being on death hook who potentially does not have decisive strike.
Yeah, Fats only 30 seconds away from the elimination now, so Eunoia really in a rough spot, and you need to readjust your strategy. You need to start discussing, do we want to save Fats? Do we potentially just get generators out of the way and pressure into the objectives? All of this needs to be considered now. Abdel going to face the reset is definitely one important counterplay to get a fix camp of Fats here, but it's certainly not going to be enough, and it's Abdel moving into the unhook. That's going to be a trade, an important one though, because when you have 2 minutes of hang time, it's always better for you. We are going to see the 40 people as well. Fats is going to take a new injury, but will make it further, and he's now able, even if tunneled, to pull the killer all the way into the pocket of the wrecker's yard here, far away from the active generators, meaning that Abdel should be back on the feet by a reset, and also that we are going to see a little bit of pressure into the gens, but Fats ultimately being downed again. Gallo Fake extremely efficient when we are talking about the tunnel out here. Elimination on just barely 3 generators. That generator has just been repaired, and Ace is a little bit of self-injuring here next to the fun bus while they are going for the reset. Yeah, rough turning point now for Eunoia. Will be interesting how they're playing this out, but Gallo Fake definitely with the chance to bring this back for BomBom.
That early elimination will be putting them in incredibly early 3v1, especially when their reset does get found out. Back into the chase with another survivor already with their power up. Firecracker gone. Oh, a missed phase right there. We'll be buying just a little bit extra time. Pop Goes the Weasel not finding its home on a generator, but David needs to just last for just a little bit longer, but Shack Pellet is already used as well. Possibly a balanced landing. Does not get the down just yet. However, still injured, not in an exact side of the map that they want to be on. Going down here, the mid-map would be kind of terrible. We are far away from the other side that does have some generators, but the Spirit does still have agitation. Able to put David on almost anywhere on the map. Is dragging the survivor back to this small cluster right here. Sort of a 3-gen, not an incredibly tight one. The survivors did take the time to reset Renato here, who is going to try to go for a quick pull maybe. Also trying to get David out from this side. We see a stealthing ace over here next to a generator with some progress, but not hardly any at all. Renato will be taking the tag right there, but it's not a 1-for-1 just yet. Spirit would probably try to get this down as quick as possible to put Renato back on the hook right there where David was. Goes for a swing and another miss! Not getting down just yet, and now the Spirit's power is on recharge. She has to wait just a little bit longer. Ace diligently working on that generator as well, trying to get just a little bit more progress.
And now Raiden, DBD injured, David, Matox injured someone, and Abdel injured Ace, going to repair these generators as quick as they can. Gallofake wants to prevent them from that, because keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, the first win condition in DBDL are the repair gens, and Matox taking a very, very disgusting down here. Very nice anticipation by Gallofake, and then a confident swing through the pallet. Abdel waiting right here will take the responsibility of the rescue. Raiden on the other side of the wreckers yard. Beautiful split now by Eunoia to make a little bit of a counterplay here, making sure that the killer cannot guard all the areas at the same time. That means that at least the third generator should be guaranteed, and we have another one with a 50% progress over here. So the potential is there, that's for sure. Eunoia is constantly getting the progress into these generators. We do have some objectives with a good amount of progress already. The question is really now, how quick will Gallofake be on this tunnel out? Will Raiden be able to serve the juice once more? The answer is so far yes, and yes, this very strong setup of the window leading straight into this pallet. He's now able to make it back into the 4-lane. One generator already completed. Gallofake actually has to drop that survivor. Raiden shining multiple times in this trial. Ray, I really love what he's delivering today.
Delivering the juice indeed. We just need to buy. Oh god, the generator has so much progress as well. For that down and the tunnel out coming out that early, this is like an incredible recovery by the survivors, making incredibly smart plays and also juking out the Spirit just long enough to get her out of her power, putting it on a cooldown, throwing a pellet right in her face, giving her a fat stun, saying, "You're not gonna down me just yet, not today."
Is Ray gone? I believe we lost Ray. I'm not entirely sure, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we lost my fellow co-caster here. So we will try and see if she is going to join back. We do have sometimes an issue with the Discord server here in DBDL. There's also an issue with the Discord stream at the moment. Neither Ray or me have access to the Discord stream. So we cannot really see the gameplay. All I can do is casting off a gray screen. Good though that Ray is typing that she cannot see anything and just goes offline and muting because she doesn't want to work with us any longer.
Okay, no, I'm here.
Our wonderful producer has restarted the stream, but I still can't see anything, Ray. How is it for you?
Still not really seeing much of anything. So, this is kind of a... Oh my god, they got all the gens done!
How are they out?
How did that even happen? Well, I'm sure you guys in the audience are just like screaming right now, but how did this even happen? Oh my
Red,
god.
I'm so confused now, and I'm feeling so bad that in this most important part of the trial, where Eunoia obviously clutched it, all that we have as a casting is interranged.
Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure. I thought I heard the last gen sound go off, but man, I guess it did. Jesus, like they got all those gens on with a 3v1 happening that early. You know what actually happened is that we just had no words to describe what we were seeing and we were just aghast. So very well played by these survivors. Insane coordination that I'm sure you guys love to enjoy. We're going to take a moment. We're going to go on a break and we're going to switch sides, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, hopefully fixing all the technical issues. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our sixth match of the day. It will be Eunoia on Killer playing the Spirit against the Survivor team BomBom, and we saw an incredible result from the Survivors last game. What the Killer has to work for is, I believe, 9 stages. I think it was either 7 or 8. Last game we had a little bit of technical difficulties. We have seemed to have resolved them, however, and now we are back into the trial. The Spirit is definitely going to be looking for a 4K at whatever generators remaining. Looking for the survivors, not able to catch them going for the cross. We already have 2 survivors sitting on generators, and Nancy here playing it a little bit more safe. She has a build that is good for rescuing survivors, so you can see that she does not want to be found first. Will make it unbreakable. The Spirit is not able to catch anybody out of place, not getting a free tag. Adam here, who is in a good spot for the survivors, a decisive strike. You could not have asked for a better start. And the Spirit does miss her first phase. Will she be able to get this tag right here? No, she doesn't. At the distance, the 110% speed can be painful. Tibbet is going to be needing to get a chase here, and it's seeming like it is what he's getting. The Spirit is phasing around, looking for him, sniffs him out right here at the LT while phasing right on top of his face. Will be taking that tag right there and is now in a good position to get this down. But Adam is in a good position as well because this is the death spot on Wrecker's Yard. Goes for a swing and a miss, not getting it just yet, but still going down here. The corner of the map, they had a little bit of generator progress, however, so the survivors aren't in a bad spot.
And this is now going to be a good recovery for the Spirit here. Leonidas definitely suffering from that first missed phase there, since we are going to be 110% as you mentioned, and then it's really painful to hunt these survivors down. On the other hand, now the Survivor team also still punishing you for that slow early game. Second generator already completed, and we are going to see now a little bit of a mix between pressure and setting up for the save. Good for the Survivor team that they are prioritizing the shack generator, as this one can be chained in multiple 3-gen setups, so getting that out of the way is definitely a good and understandable decision here. Leonidas is trying to catch that incoming rescuer. Meanwhile, the Survivor is further and further progressing into the second stage. Getting the second stage out here at the beginning would be a pretty good strategy though.
Does have to go into the map to pressure it just a little bit. The save happens for free onto Tibbet here, who is trying to just buy a little bit extra time. Uses that built-in borrow time, 10 seconds, to make it to over here. Not a filler pallet, however, a little bit confusing of movement here. Will be buying a little bit extra time. Are you going down underneath the pallet? Yes. Will we potentially see a pallet save? Crawls out from under the pallet. At least fake it, man. Come on. No, just using Decisive Strike instead. We'll be taking that 4-second stun, I believe it is now. Not gonna be around. You know what? That looks like a for the people play to me. Looking like they wanted to try to get the health state back, but not able to get it. A little bit of miscommunication from the survivors here can result into the fumble of this game.
Rough position, especially when you are considering BomBom's spot at the moment, right? So we do have this 2-0 lead for Team Eunoia, and you need to make a game where you do not hand out more than 8 stages. And it does look like that on the first glimpse. If you're looking on it on the bottom left corner, we only have 2 hook stages so far. But keep in mind, everyone, once we have the elimination, and now it's important that Leonidas gets that for Team Eunoia, but once that elimination is coming through, you're going to have a much slower survivor team, and you will be able to down one survivor. The next one needs to unhook, and the third one will be in a new chase, meaning that everyone is going to be incapacitated for the generator pressure. But for now, we are going to see one more rescue, meaning that Tibbet is now carrying the responsibility of making this a longer run, delaying the tunnel out as much as possible. Volt coming through, Leonidas realizing that, Adam going for the double back, but it's a little bit too late as Leonidas is already coming out of phase, and then the distance between survivor and killer not being the strongest, the longest. On the other hand, 4th generator coming out, and we do not have the tightest 3 gen, so Leonidas might have a difficult time defending this. Dunker expects himself to be in the chase, carefully dropping the pallet. Like to see that. Definitely not a waste in a 3v1 scenario to play more safe than sorry. YOLO moving a little bit away from the gen as well, expecting that Leonidas is teleporting over here any second, and we do see that indeed. So great game sense here by our survivor, realizing that he might be in a rough spot and leaving earlier than normally needed to prevent another injury. Really smart here by our survivor team.
Definitely. The irony of the fact that the Spirit was trying to pressure the generators, was worried about their progress, gives up that Nancy, who could have been a prize for her going down right there in the middle, would have been really good, you know, 20/20 hindsight. But now the progress of these generators aren't that high. What the Spirit could do is just try to catch survivors out of position, but they're doing a really good job of not letting that exact thing happen. Leonidas will be phasing over this direction, looking for the Renato who was over here, does spot him out of the corner of her eye. Yes, he was here. You have that white shirt, you're not blended in that well. Takes the tag, has Sloppy Butcher. She deciding to commit to this? It does seem so. There are a lot of filler pellets over here, so if the pallet's dropped on the right side, it does not happen. YOLO will be going down. However, it is not in the best hooks. Oh my god. It is not in the best hook spot. Especially we have this Nancy here who is stealthing just a little bit. However, these health states right here really, really matter. We need to get, I believe it was 8, right? 8 stages?
8 stages on 4 survivors.
That's the win, right? Not the tie.
That would be the tie. 8 stages on 4 is the tie.
Okay, so 9 is to win. So these extra little ones that are coming out from these survivors right here can mean the world of a difference. Yeah, of course, it would be better to just 3K all of them, but you know, it's not always possible considering how slow these survivors are taking it. They are trying their best to get a little bit more progress every single time the Spirit leaves that location.
Difficult moments ahead of us. The survivor team needs to be super careful, not being able to hand out any additional injury beyond what's absolutely necessary. For example, in order to progress a generator or trading with a hook stage. And on the other hand, our killer in a very difficult position now. You cannot overcommit to a chase. You need to be constantly worried about the survivors jumping onto the generators right behind you, and all of this is creating a lot of pressure. Gallofake moving around here as well. He has an easier time with the urban evasion, and YOLO, our very smart hide and seek player, doing a great job on that generator over here. Leonidas now even checking some lockers because he's so devastated. These survivors are hiding so great. Whenever Leonidas is moving away from a generator, they are already starting to hide on the other side of the map. And now the only thing that the survivor team needs to do is playing a great end game here. They need to be careful. They need to make sure that they are not handing out additional stages, and then this should be safe business. Leonidas catching the survivor over here, but one of them wouldn't even be enough, and we already see the outs being taken as well. We do find YOLO over here, but even if YOLO would be dead. It's going to be enough if Gallowfake and Danke are leaving the trial. Yeah, BomBom with the comeback, ladies and gentlemen, forcing it into the 2-0 and now into the 2-1. Eunoia no longer in the dominant position here. They have to give up on their very precious lead. And when we're looking on to yesterday, we had Valentine's being with a 2-0 lead. Then we had 2 tiebreakers, and after that, Insomnia won 3 sets in a row, actually taking the win. So 2-0 feels great, yet it's not a guarantee. We can see that right here. So Eunoia now with the difficult task to sort themselves together, except that they dropped this very good chance for them to take the best of 5 win, and therefore we are going to move over towards the unknown. We're going to stay on the Wrecker's Yard, but it's going to move on with a 2-1 for Team Eunoia still. BomBom will feel a lot more confident now. Ray, what do you expect for the upcoming unknown trial now, considering that BomBom definitely taking some confidence here?
You know, the fact that I don't really know exactly what to expect at all. Like, I haven't seen Eunoia play an unknown set. This is my first time witnessing BomBom, but they are taking that win by a huge lead, only having about 4 stages on a Spirit, though that wasn't their pick, and we are going into another Eunoia pick, which is unknown. A killer that I talked about a little earlier. They are very, very skill-based. The projectile can be a little funky sometimes, but if you've played that character a lot, you definitely have a lot of experience and possibly a leg up on your opponent. So we might be seeing some really crazy plays. I'm very excited. I don't actually get to cast unknown games very often either. A real treat for me today. So we will be taking a moment, guys, to switch sides, and we'll be right back.
How will this match on the Wrecker's Yard end? Well, I would say that's pretty unknown, but Metox is going to take the responsibility for Team Eunoia. Eunoia is still up by a set point, 2-1 at the moment, but BomBom now definitely with a good reason to have a confident feeling, widespread shoulders going into this trial. And the first injury, though, is already happening onto them. YOLO here taking a very unfortunate and quick hit into the trial. YOLO moving over now towards the corner of the Wrecker's Yard, has the balance landing available as well. Nice shot there into the truck. Balance landing will help YOLO to make 1 round, but if this is going to be a good shot, yeah, then it's not going to be enough to take some distance. Their first hook stage already coming through. Going to be a good start for Eunoia after having a difficult trial on Wrecker's Yard in the previous set. Danke potentially setting up for the rescue here behind these tires. I mean, for an unknown, no generator lost, only 50% so far, and already having the first hook stage. Ray, seems like a good deal to kick this off.
A good deal indeed. That is exactly what you were looking for as the killer. And you know, the survivors possibly have to look out because this can be stressful. Every match that happens after this is a death match. You need to be locked in for the rest of these sets, because if BomBom loses just 1 more, then that is it for them. And the killer here, Metox, played very, very well unknown. You could definitely see why they have that. Oh god, that hit looked so not very good. The down will be happening onto YOLO here, who was just placed on a hook and will be placed on a hook again. Unknown's balancing dictates that there is not allowed to be any decisive strikes. Nothing. So there is no anti-tunnel. The second hook happening this early could mean a tunnel out happening really early and a possible win at high generators remaining.
Now the rescue already happening here. Survivor team trying to be quick, bringing all their teammates back in the trial, gaining some time for the generators. But YOLO will face the gameplay. Everyone on Twitter is complaining about the tunnel gameplay and the 3v1 scenario. Metox here with a good significant lag though on getting stunned on the pallet over there, losing the survivor a little bit afterwards, but now it has to be a really good run from that survivor. Metox shooting this UVX way too late. That is not going to be any danger for the survivor team here, and it's important that they are having a longer run. This is the mission for YOLO, and they are 100% able to do that. Shaq pallet is going to come out as well now, looking really strong so far. If he's able to go like that, we are going to see quite some gems popping.
Those first downs happen. Oh, an incredible UVX shot over this wall right here. We'll have to see if there is a follow-up. Not able to get that. Gets head-on stunned. I didn't even hear it. I didn't hear anything happen. That'll be just a little bit more time bought. YOLO looping for his life. Doesn't know that there's a possible hallucination over here. The killer might not either because they didn't teleport to it. A wonderful fake, but however will be going down right here. A good run for this killer on this map will be passing away, and now we are into the 3v1 with 3 generators, 2 generators left. The survivor team taking this chase time and turning it into generator progress. They have quite a bit over here as well. The Unknown was here earlier, might have an idea. The survivors chunking out this generator right here has a little bit of progress over here, but it is now the 3v1. They might be able to clutch it into a 4K with 1 generator left, but that is the best result that they can hope for because we're on the chase of Gallowfake over here, who is injured. Takes the teleport, but the survivor did not go back that direction. Goes for another UVX shot, does get them weakened, and will be trying to get this down as soon as possible. The killer here might have an idea that they were going to go into endgame because we do have a sneaky Hex. No one escapes death there on the left, possibly leading to more slugs in endgame if we're lucky. Ooh, goes for another down there as well.
Yeah, that's going to be rough. We are getting notified in the background that our survivor team has reported earlier in the trial that they are having massive ping issues at the moment. Since we are so far into the game, I don't think we are going to have an instant restart, but let's see what we are going to do here. Our referees will take care of that. Let's keep that in mind for the moment in case we see anything weird on the survivor side. Ray, can you take over for a second?
Yeah. Especially because the survivors are in a really good position right here. They put Gallowfake into the basement, but the Unknown is deciding not to camp that, knowing that going back and a broken status effect means that Gallowfake will be getting healed by Second Wind. I can't remember exactly what that is called, but the chase is happening onto Donk here, who is still going to be weakened. An amazing shot from our killer player here, using their power very, very well. This is something you want to see in an Unknown set. You want to see these hits happening, and they are. The survivors have to do a little bit more generator progress. This is sort of a tighter 3-gen over here on this same side of the map on Wrecker's Yard, and they don't seem to be having any other generator progress. Oh no, never mind. I lied. They have a lot of generator progress on this one. This is far away from the shack, so the killer has to try to pressure both the hook and the generator at the same time. However, decides to come over here and commit to this. Oh, they have a Pop Goes a Weasel charge, applying it to this generator, regressing it just a little bit, and has a teleport hallucination here at the top. Will be going directly back to the hook, taking some M1 tags on the survivors, punishing them for being out of position, sort of, because it is basement. What can you do? And gets to go back. Ever since Pop Goes a Weasel's nerf, it doesn't apply that much regression, though it is still worth running over nothing. So this generator still has quite a bit of progress, and if the Unknown commits to a chase somewhere else on the other side of the map, it could lead to this getting done. So those 2 survivors have an option to either sit on gens or try to reset. Gallowfake here is not giving attack for free. That is so important in this moment in time. You need to make sure Oh, the teleport! The teleport in! Gallowfake is in a good position to not take a tag for free. That fake was so good. We're not seeing a heal come from the survivors just yet. We'll be taking a tag right there. Yeah, we see one of the auras of them working in shack and possibly splitting the pressure with another working on that truck over there. This has a lot of progress. Gallowfake's chasing exactly what they needed. Although we see 2 sets of scratch marks here, so we do know for a fact that 2 survivors were doubling this gen. And now there are injured survivors out there, but there are gens with high progress. So we'll have to see if we can get it down quick enough to be able to prevent the slash generator from popping, but the progress is split and so good right now that it looks like the survivors can just stick to it and at least turn this 4K potential 4K1 into a 4K0 at the least, or at the most, I should say. And yep, there it goes. We got the last generator done. This would be a 4K0 now at the best for the killer. The resets are happening at the other side of the map. Our totem is lit and we are slightly speedier. They must have had this call out. They don't know exactly what the perks are. There it is. It's revealed. Gallowfake onto the ground. The survivors are taking the time to heal up. It does make it so that you aren't making any noise, so it's a lot easier to stealth. But you will be still insta down with Noed, and that Noed spawn right there is kind of dastardly. Places the survivor on the hook next to it, next to this exit gate as well. It could be really difficult to save the survivor and get the gate in this situation.
Meanwhile, we're going to see Danke over here, and I think this gives us a pretty strong idea of what BomBom is facing at the moment. As said, the players have reported issues with the server and the ping. They have reported that in time, but we still need a little bit of extra information, and when we are then pretty far into the trial, we are letting it play out first. I'm going to talk to BomBom after this trial as well, looking at the additional evidence that they are providing, and then we are going to make a call on this matter. Unfortunately, we are all aware how drastically a game can be impacted due to the DBD service, so let's see what will be the appropriate decision here. Tibet for the moment jumping into a locker. Gallowfake, the injured survivor, still standing in this trial, has the responsibility of either going for the rescues or simply taking the stages out of the door. It would be at least one stage that can be more than you think, because then your killer of Team BomBom can go for an endgame speed run. You can go for the 4K after all generators have been completed, and then you are still going to take the win. So having one stage out of the door is definitely a very, very valuable resource for the upcoming trial, if this is even the result that we're going to stick with. Gallowfake, on the other hand, not leaving just yet, so nah, never mind. Now, when you heard my potential monologue about coming back, which would be surprising since Tibet is located over here. Yeah, we're going to hop on a break a little bit earlier than usual, cutting off the last seconds of this dying animation. We'll talk to the teams, we'll look at the evidence, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Quick update from the housekeeping. So we did notice that they were on the wrong server and had very high ping. We played it out because we were... Oh, my slide! We played it out because we were already halfway through and we didn't want to impact it with a restart in case BomBom then makes a very nice coordinated play on the generators. So we played this trial fully, and then we asked BomBom, do you want to replay it? But then it counts what you score in the second trial, so you don't have a free second try basically. So if they would have been 4K4, then this would have been the result for them, but they decided to stick to the 11 stages and they were quite happy with that. Therefore, we are now going to see BomBom on the killer side and Eunoia on the survivor side, and we are going to cast this trial with a little bit of a challenge. Ray tried to refuse, but she has no choice. So we are going to cast this trial, and we have to use 2 typical sentences that the other caster is usually using. So Ray, somewhere in this trial you have to use 2 sentences that I usually drop when I'm casting, and I have to use 2 of yours. I'm not sure if I find 2, but I'll try. But for now, it's your turn.
Hold me, chat! This challenge is gonna drive me crazy! There, I got one out of the way. And the killer especially has one out of the way. Placed Fats right up on the hook while we were trying to describe this little challenge of yours that I almost refused to take to participate in. But this is looking like a really good start for the killer, having Fats set up on that hook with very little generator progress. It might seem like a little, though, because the survivors are taking this time to 3-gen split. It is more efficient to work on separate generators. It does make it look like that they don't have a lot of progress, but they have a game plan right here. The win con for the killer is just to kill everybody because one stage got out of the game. So if you can 4K, doesn't matter how many generators are remaining, then you win. But the survivors know that, and they're taking the time to just work on these separately. They're trading this hook on Fats, who went to struggle, for generator progress because they know that they just need to get 2 stages out to win. If they get 1 stage out, it's a tie. 2 generators do pop for Fats sitting on the hook, and they did have progress in main. We did see a survivor possibly rotating there to pick it back up after that survivor left. Gallifake here is happy just to sit right at hook, trying to force the death onto Fats, who will put them into the 3v1 very early. Goes to a swing, a wild swing there, and this will result in a down, applying forced hesitation, I believe. Although I think the Nancy might have had, Nancy had sprint burst. So the distance gained wasn't, or the distance lost wasn't a whole lot. Slowed a little bit there towards the end, is now affected by the UVX. Goes for another shot right there, but Nancy dodges in, is taking the distance and dying at this corner of the map. Playing to chase a little bit, but is buying enough time for her teammates across the map to just get more generator progress done.
Fats moving to the next pallet saying, you won't get me, not today! Fats going for the next tile here. This was one out of the way for me, by the way. And that's now going to be another turn, but this window will not be reached in time. Very unfortunate. Fats was on a good run here, trying to delay the elimination as long as possible, but ultimately it is going to come to an end for him. On the other hand, though, 3rd generator being completed, 75% in the shack already. Just when we are talking about it, though, the teleport coming out right here. The killer able to sniff out the survivor in the shack, and that's the 2nd ray quote in the casting for this one. 20% on the hill over here. They are now trying to be as quick as possible, dispelling a little bit on the illusion there, making sure that the unknown is not behind us. Was worried there for a moment, but Abdel having the total control over there, making sure that he's moving one of the potential teleport locations. We do have another one, though, straight next to the shack, and that's important at the moment because this generator has quite a significant amount of progress. So if BomBom's killer would be able to defend that generator for a little bit longer, it would definitely be really important. However, now we are getting dragged away into the fun bus, so if the survivor team is taking a rotation back towards the shack, they will definitely have the chance to get this objective done.
And it's seeming like this chase is taking just a little bit extra time. That UVX shot unfortunately does not injure Metox here, who is playing against the killer that he played last game. So he is warmed up. You know what they say about killers playing against their face? They have that chase locked down. And look at that. They have so much progress to be rewarded, and Metox doesn't even take an injury, so all that time wasted. Another generator gets done. The survivors are looking like they're in such a good position. I'm swinging a miss onto the ace over here, who is now taking his chase down to this corner of the map. Eruption does proc over there. Actually, that's Colubrine and Eruption, showing that the survivors are back on that generator right there. Fung right here is a little bit slow due to forced hesitation, takes an M1 hit for it. Now it seems like Gallifake is wanting to snowball, getting all these downs. That UVX shot was so important, and it didn't even land, missing by a 1/4 of an inch, and that will be that generator done as well. The survivors now just need to get one of those 2 survivors that are still up out of the gate, and that would be the win for Eunoia.
Very, very well done by the survivor team. We were worried a little bit throughout the mid-game when the stages came together, especially when Fats was eliminated so quickly. But the game is not over just yet, ladies and gentlemen. We might see a quick down onto Maddox and then an endgame speedrun somehow. The UVX effect is already placed on that survivor, so there is a good chance. However, the door is opening in the distance, meaning that Raiden DBD is going to make it out, which would be 9 stages and therefore the win, since BomBom has achieved 11 on their survivor side. Not entirely sure if Raiden is going to wait for Fats, giving a potential body block, or actually going for the reset. So if Eunoia is moving into the grand final, then they want to do that in a very dominant way, and that's totally understandable here, because it does set a sign towards Insomnia, the other team that has already moved into the grand final yesterday with a great performance against Valentine's. We talked about it earlier, coming back from a 2-0 and making it into a 3-2. Now Mattox going down onto the floor. The survivors had enough time to go for the other exit gate, or alternatively just running over here. Raiden going to move towards that exit gate now, and we are going to see the escapes by the survivor team. Abdul staying in the trial a little bit longer, but now realizing that the team member is going onto the hook and they are leaving Mattox behind, meaning that Eunoia is our second grand finalist for the upcoming weekend. We are not entirely sure yet if it's going to be the Saturday or the Sunday, because one of the teams has alerted us that there might be a time conflict with Champions of the Fog, which is understandable because originally the grand final was planned for today, but due to the long delay yesterday, this semi-final was rescheduled. So we are going to keep you updated about the grand final being on Saturday or Sunday. Make sure you're hopping into our Discord server for that, !Discord in the chat to join our community and playing 1v1 ladder with almost 19,000 other fellow competitors. Congratulations to Eunoia after a very intense fight here with Team BomBom. BomBom definitely a great team to work with, also in the background, really quick, really well prepared, very professional. Big shout out to them, even though we have to say goodbye to them for the moment.